Okay. Hello? Hello? Yes, right. So I thought it was easier to do a live stream. Hey, Linda. Because I was asked about the dolphin that was beached on the Amateurs Entertainment Rockpool video. And it was just easier to explain it in person and try and make a video because I've tried for hours to make a video and it's just not happening. Nothing was to work together. So basically, it wasn't a dolphin; it was a porpoise. And I was asked, "Oh, all right, sorry, it's buffering." This is my first time trying this, so I'm sorry, guys. Right. Anyways, all right. So, yeah, as I said, it was a porpoise, not a dolphin, and I was asked how it was beached. And the easiest way to say it is there was two theories. It was either it beached up but it's still alive and then died and things started scavenging, hence why the scars on it. Or the more likely is that it was attacked by something like a shark and then washed up after being attacked, and then obviously the scavengers like crabs and things were like going for it then, because in the place where we were, especially the place we were and around the UK, we have a thing that if we see a dolphin or a whale or any sort of cetacean beached, we contact our rescue animal services, so the RSPCA, and they have to respond to get any live beach cetaceans back into the water as soon as possible. So that's my theory why that happened. I can actually see who asked that. Who was it you asked? So I was literally asked 2 days ago. My memory's not great, by the way. Oh God. Here we go. So it was asked by. I'm not even going to attempt to read the name because I know I'll butcher it. All right. So, is your profession a marine biologist? Right. All right. I'm kind of like for now I'm a self-employed marine biologist because I've just finished my zoology degree with Liverpool John Moores, and I literally I graduate on next week. I'll be a certified zoologist, but I'll be certified to be hired as a zoologist. I'm actually applying to a master's degree to do go into more marine biology sort of field in the conservation and educational part of it. But for now, I just class myself as one because it's what I've wanted to do. So why not? Technically, my real profession at the minute is a bartender. not the greatest at it, but it's something to pay the bills. Thank you, Cindy. So I thought I'd start this channel to like get my knowledge out there, like, because I don't just want, like, I do love marine biology. Obviously, like most of my videos so far have been like marine based, but I do want to do other animals as well, like birds, mammals, insects, arachnids, things like that. It's just hence why I've done a couple of videos with Scott, because he's like an encyclopedia of animals. Like, he's probably the only person I've met with more knowledge about animals than me that I've met in person. The only other people that I would know of are like the Irwins, the Attenborough, and maybe a couple others. See, yeah, I'm happy to hear that you're so interested in marine biology. There doesn't seem to be enough of them. Right. That's the thing. The reason there's not so many marine biologists is because it's a really hard field to get into. At my university, we only had two. The two that I had, one working with like aquaculture, so like fish farms, so to make them more sustainable, like making salmon and things like that, breeding them to sell for farmers markets and things. And she's looking at ways to make like the paints that they use that to stop mussels and barnacles from sticking to like the rigs and that. More like less toxic. Like, we started doing it on the hulls of ships, so it was less toxic to the environment. So she's trying to find a way to apply it to those. It's a different surface. Obviously, a ship hull is flat, whereas like the cage they keep the farmed fish in, like bumpy and rigid. So it's two different things. And then the other one I had looked mostly at algae and plankton, to see how they could be used to help further technology, like biomimicry, which is a fascinating subject. Biomimicry is where like we take ideas from nature and put them into modern technology, like shark scales. They're used in hospitals and ships, like swimsuits sometimes, as they're more like, they don't allow things to stick to them. That's why, like, sometimes when you're in hospital, you get like that. All right, so why does the farm salmon meat look different from the wild salmon? So that is actually an interesting one. So wild salmon, it's obviously just whatever it can find to eat, it eats. So it's one of those things. Whereas the diet of a farm salmon, and why it looks pink, is because they add special, the stuff that they feed to salmon, they feed themselves, and they use like a colored dye in it, or like manipulate the keratin intake. So like the stuff that gives hair color and stuff like that, because it makes the mussels look, so it colors the mussels to be pink, and it makes it look more appealing when it's being sold compared to wild salmon. So as the pink one's cheaper to buy than wild caught, that's why. Oh god, this is so it's really weird doing this live, because I can do so many takes and I don't stutter on things, and then this it's really hard to get my point across, if you know what I mean. But hi to new viewer, and thanks for the likes, guys. what else going to talk about? If you guys got any questions, throw them in the chat. Just, yeah, that's true. I've done that once before because I pressed the wrong button on my phone. Because that's how I do most of my vlogs. I just use my phone, and it's really like the first time because I was getting used to the app. It was really nerve-wracking, and I just deleted the video straight away. And because I obviously when I'm not in my flat, at my girlfriend's, at my mum's, whatever, I'm using the laptop. But when I'm not, I'm using my phone for everything. Oh, hi Noodle, Noodle Soda. Sorry. What are your opinions on the freshwater jellyfish? What do they do that makes them invasive? So, right. So I'm actually thinking about doing a video on invasive species, and what it is I don't. My theory on how they got there is that they were in the pet trade. So I think either a pet shops took them in, and then they couldn't look after them anymore, so they just released them, or flushed them down the toilet, and they survived somehow. Or that someone who was keeping them as pets, they didn't have the right setup, or they didn't know how to look after them properly, so they just released them into the canals. To be fair, those canals have a history of invasive species. Like majority of fish species in the UK are invasive, like carp and things like that. I think we only have like 7 natural species occurring, other than the eels we have, because they migrate from Brazil to Britain to breed and then go back out. And so I think they were put there through the pet trade. The only other way I could see it being there is that there are eggs, and then obviously the plants come over and then done stuff like that, and they released off the plant like Japanese knotweed or something like that. I don't know. I'm not very good with plants. And then they kind of just started spawning, especially with the hot weather. So it kind of triggered them to develop into the more juvenile stages and things like that. But the reason we think they're the Chinese one is because of the markings on them. They match very similar to the photos we could find. Right, so are the jellyfish dangerous to other species of fish in the canal? Actually, maybe when they're a baby, when they're just hatched, or when they're a fry, when they're tiny, in the first time. No, the first video of Amateur's Edutainment that I did showed loads of baby fish, they've just hatched, where you can only see the eye and stuff like that, and the rest of the body see through. But other than that, those Chinese ones tend to eat microorganisms like a thing called Daphnia and other zooplankton, which other where you have baby microbes and stuff. You'll go, because sometimes baby jellyfish are classed as zooplankton. You can only see them from a microscope, and they eat phytoplankton, which algae basically. But what do they do that makes them invasive? It's just because it's not their natural environment. So obviously they're from the Yangtze River, which has been developed on with the Three Gorges Dam, which killed off the river dolphin that they had there and things like that. But obviously the jellyfish did well, as they went from literally a crazy rapid river that's always flowing to something that's still, what our canals mimic. So they're obviously doing brilliant in there. we did actually take them to our university and gave them to the marine biology team. Well, we gave one because it was dead. It died in transportation. It's not through either of our faults. It's just for some reason it didn't survive, and we don't know why. It could have just been like the vibrations from the drive or something, but the other 4 survived. Well, the other 3 survived because one escaped, because we did have 5, but we saw some Daphnia, so we thought, well, we'll feed them. And as we dipped our jar into there, one escaped, and we were letting the Daphnia in. But then out of the 4, Scott kept 3, and obviously the 4th one, which was the dead one, went to the university so that they could do a DNA test on it to double check that it's the Chinese one and to find out where its point of origin was, because I was and see its like ancestry and stuff, and 2, to try and find out why it's there, like how it's surviving, because obviously like China and Britain are both like temperate countries. Well, Britain itself is just temperate altogether. China has a few tropical parts like Japan, but the Yangtze River's up in the temperate part, which is why species like goldfish and that are able to survive here. As I said, that canals has a history of invasive ones. And in the video, as we stated, they used to pump hot water in, which is how tropical fish like guppies and platies and mollies were surviving, and even a couple of catfish. But university is going to keep us updated on that, because obviously we found them, so we have to be kept in the loop to see what happens. And Scott's keeping the other 3 as they breed asexually, so that's why they don't need a mate. They can just they fertilize their own eggs and throw them out. And I've had to help him set up a proper tank, help him get the equipment to set up the proper tank, and told him how to do it, because I wasn't able to go that day to help him do it. Because keeping jellyfish is extremely different to keeping normal fish. Like, you have to keep a constant circulation going. Although these ones seem to do well in stagnant water, apparently, or almost stagnant. But I'm hoping to meet up with Scott either this week, next week, or in a couple of weeks after he's got back from Japan and I get back from my mum's, and and see how well the jellyfish are doing, because we know their diet, so they're easy to feed. We just, because it stays, we don't have to like culture the food. We can just go out and catch it or go to the shop and buy some. But yeah. Any other questions? Sorry if I'm rambling, guys, but I tend to lose my train of thought easily. What is the average size? Or all right, so that type of jellyfish, what we found was the average adult size was 2 centimeters. So literally, some of those were like fully grown. Obviously, these measurements are when they're dried up. So after they found a dead specimen and measured it from that, because they lose a lot of because they're like 95% water. So when you see them floating about, it's mostly because of water that's helping them move along. And then when they've died, they've obviously dried out. So that's when you tend to get the measurements. But from what we could tell, a couple of them were, at least one was an adult, the others were probably juveniles. But yeah. Right. Ill blood dangerous. Ooh. Oh, I remember doing something on this. Sorry. Right. If I remember correctly, I think eels have like it's either 2 or 3 toxins. One on the, I know there's one on the skin, and I know there's one in the blood. The other one, I think there's another one in its like saliva. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's cool, Cindy. Don't worry about it. Any questions? Like, no questions are silly, really. But the reason if I remember correctly, for the one about the eel blood being dangerous to humans, I think it's because there's a neurotoxin in the blood for when they're eaten. So it's not just toxic to us; it's toxic to other animals as well. So only ones that have like become immune to it will eat it. Like when an octopus eats a pufferfish or something like that, it's immune to it because the toxin in a pufferfish is the venom, is the same type of toxin that's in an octopus's bite. So it's one of those things. Either predators of an eel are immune to it, or it's like they just got something that counteracts it. Sort of like there's a snake and a rodent in America that I know of. Like every time the snakes develop the venom to kill that specific rodent, and then the rodents have evolved to stop that venom infecting them. So it's something like it's stuff like that. Like there's like bugs there's a type of bug that eats mice. Like I think it's a type of spider. Its venom works specifically for that mice. That type of, well, not just that type of mice, just all its food. But there's a type of mouse that's developed an immunity to that toxin, so it's not affected. Especially as that type of mouse eats that type of spider. So it's one of those. It's like predator prey evolution, coevolution thing. So that's why eating stuff like pufferfish is so dangerous to humans and things like that. Where you have to get rid of like venom stacks when you're eating squid and octopus and stuff like that. I just want to ask, what's it like living in the desert? Because that's something that's completely foreign to me. Majority of my life, I've lived around a coast. So growing up, or where I was born, I was near the coast. Where I grew up, I wasn't that far. I was probably about 5-10 minute drive from the coast, or I could walk. It took about half an hour. And even when I was studying up here, I've been near a river, or literally across the river from me is the beach that we went to. So I've always had water around me. So I just want to know what is it like growing up in a desert, especially in like the US, because you have things like rattlesnakes, don't you? Any other questions? I'm sorry if I don't sound enthusiastic. I am. It's just terrestrial fish in the canals. Oh, well. All right. So just to answer Noodle Soda, have there ever been any problems with terrestrial? I'm guessing you mean in native fish in the canals, because terrestrial just means land-based creatures. But the native species, imagine when they were building it, because like obviously it's causing problems when they're trying to like lay the concrete, things like that, to make the canals. And then that's why canals are so fascinating, because it's a man-made environment, like a pond, and nature's taken over. So it's one of those cool things. But from the fish, not really. They've had more of a positive effect, because when I say positive, it's not really. It's a fish in, really. it's probably the main effect they've had on the canals. More fishermen pay to go fish there. It creates money for angling societies, fishermen societies, and local councils, as it's a popular spot. But no, I can't think of any problems. Maybe, obviously, it causes a problem like you can't drink from it, obviously. But if anything, humans are the bigger problems when it comes to water systems because of our pollution. Like we saw in the video, the amount of trash or rubbish, whatever you want to call it, in those canals, it's ridiculous. Like, it's why we have a problem with plastic in the oceans now at the minute. It's like humans majority of humans don't seem to care anymore. We share the planet. Like, it's the amount of time we've been here is like the blink of the eye to the rest of the animals on this planet. Doesn't give us the right to do what we want with it, in my eyes. So, and Cindy Flogs, it's very hot most of the year, but it's also very beautiful in my opinion, and lots of desert creatures like snakes and mountain lions and coyotes I rather like. Yeah. Ah, sweet. Small hobby farm. Right. Nice. All right. All right. Because like my experience of animals is like what's normal for me is exotic for you, most of you guys, and then what's normal for you is exotic to me. It's like lions, mountain lions, and coyotes. That is like you think that's normal. To me, that's like, wow, that's an exotic creature. Because like the last wild canine we had in this country was the European wolf, which went extinct like 200 years ago, something like that. It was used for sport. Oh, I forgot about the fox. Oh god, we still have the fox, but big canines went extinct in the UK a long time ago. So did bears. We don't have that many large carnivores. Snakes, though, we do have snakes. We have 3 types. We have a grass snake, an adder, which is the only venomous animal in Britain, and smooth snake. There was something about certain kinds of fish or something that can eat plastic now. I don't remember where I read it or exactly what it said. You know, and that's new to me. I know certain organisms and that are eating the plastic, because there is types of microbes that do feed on plastic, which is quite cool. Helps break it down, but it takes too long. But the only thing I know about fish eating plastics is like their food is eating plastic, or like the plastic minerals, so it's creating like things called microplastics, and then that's in the fish, and it's technically harmful to them. And then obviously for the humans that eat fish, it's causing health problems for them, especially where it's like the main income is, or like the main source of food is like the fishermen. Some places like Costa Rica, Japan, things like that. So I think that's the main reason people have started to care about plastic in the ocean, because it's starting to affect humans more. But I haven't heard of anything, unless the things I can think of are the ones that eat jellyfish. Sorry, I'm going on keep circling back to jellyfish, but plastic bags for most animals would look like another jellyfish. So they're probably eating it on accident. So I know some turtles are immune to jellyfish, so they'd eat them, and obviously they're eating a plastic bag and then they're choking on them. But oh god. But that's the only thing I can think of for that. I'll have a look into that actually. Listen, I really like to learn new things. this year I learned about a topic I'd never heard of before called ocean acidification. And that was fascinating. I saw an article on the fish that eats plastic as well. It was recent, but I don't remember the name of the article. Right, this is really... No, actually, it's probably easy just to search on my phone. Fish that eats. Right. Okay. Right. So as it's all right. So when was this posted? Oh, this was posted last year. Do you guys know? I don't know if you guys have seen like one that's more recent than I have, but most recent one I found is 16th of August last year, and it says like they're eating the plastic because it smells like food, which would make sense, to be fair. Like, half the stuff we use plastic for is like food containers. So yeah, the enticing smell sets off foraging and feeding behavior in fish, causing them to eat the debris, believing it is food. Ingesting tiny particles of plastic by accident when they were hoovering up floating pieces of plankton or krill. Even experts don't know everything. Thanks for... You're very welcome. Yeah, to be fair, that is a lot. Most of science is just theory. Until it can be proven, there's no actual way to say it's real or not. Like, no one thought there'd be life in ice, and then you have extremophiles that are able to live in ice and yet live in lava as well. No one thought there'd be life right on the ocean floor, and then when they sent down a submarine, they found it, which like they show in Blue Planet 2. Could it be a type of microbe or bacteria, perhaps? Because the article said that this particular organism actually eats it and digests it with no harmful effects to the animal. Right. I think that was I know there's a bacteria that does it. I can't remember the name. All right, scientists accidentally create a mutant enzyme that eats plastic bottles. Yeah, mutant enzymes takes a few days to start breaking down the plastic, far faster than centuries it takes in the ocean, but researchers are optimistic this can be sped up even further and become a viable large-scale process. Yeah, so basically, it's like they recovered a strain of bacteria that can literally eat plastic through mutant enzymes. Like as it says here, plastic bottles were thrown away, have been used for like the last couple hundred years, and the thing, like most of it end up in the oceans and that, and obviously it's a resource that's becoming more and more like widespread for them, so they've developed a way to like evolve and mutate to eat the plastic. So it's kind of like a selective breeding or forced evolution in a way. Like, don't quote me on forced evolution, that's not really a thing, but it's where they use the most valuable resource there is, or the most abundant resource, and just adapt to cope with it. So like another example would be elephants without tusks. They're becoming more frequent because of poachers. So because poachers are taking down like the biggest like male elephants with like the biggest tusks, or that the ones that are left are the ones with barely any tusks or no tusks at all. And obviously, what it used to be was like the elephant with the bigger tusks would win like mating fights and like be able to breed with the females. But obviously, as there's no competition for the males anymore with no tusks, or like there's less of it, they're breeding more, and then it's making more and more generations of elephants without tusks. Hence why poaching is becoming becoming harder and harder, because there's less tusks out there for them to nick. And obviously, this sort of thing that's happening with this bacteria, because of human influence, they're eating more and more. They've mutated to eat more plastic so that they can survive more. So it's sort of like the same sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Like humans have forced them to evolve. There are leaps in evolution in most known species. It is usually a genetic defense mechanism. So species. Yeah, that's right. So pretty much just summing up what I'm trying to explain. Cheers, Linda. I'm curious, Linda. Are you do you have a background in science, or are you studying a biology course or something? Because if so, like, that is, you're really knowledgeable. So I'll give. Hold on. But, I'm just. Yep. All right. Fair enough. Because that's how I started, really. Once I like I explained, once I saw Jaws, I got interested in science, then started watching documentaries as I got older, and started off with just animal documentaries, then altogether nature, and then I started watching things on like history and biology, or not biology, but chemistry and physics as well. So, and space. If I didn't study to become a marine biologist, I would study to become either more like a theoretical, not theoretical. What's the other one? The practical one, the experimental physicist. There you go. Or a chemist, like a chemistry teacher or something. Or just a zookeeper, really. And I read a lot of science I read a lot of science magazines, articles, and watch documentaries as well. Almost any scientific. Yeah. That's like, so yeah. So after time, I'd stick on YouTube and I'd just watch things that like new current topics and things like that, or like rewatch old ones just to get more facts and stuff. Because unfortunately, like, I didn't get the chance to watch stuff like Blue Planet 2 this year, which I am heartbroken by, because I had to study and work, so I kept missing. It really annoyed me, but I catch the odd thing in work where it's like on the TV and I see like, oh, they found that there's 8 different species or something of orca and stuff like that. But because one of the things that I had for a while was that hybrid animals, not like the ones that create the lab, like a jellyfish, like a spider goat. So a spider that creates spider silk by inserting the genes from a spider into a goat, or inserting the genes from a jellyfish into a fish and making those like glow-like textures, or into a rabbit to make a glow-in-the-dark rabbit. I mean more like it's going to sound funny, but the Pizzly bear. It's like a natural cross between a grizzly bear and a polar bear. It tends to happen when there's like lack of resources or lack of mates. There's other ones as well. They found a hybrid black-tip shark and stuff like that. They found, probably the funniest ones is the wolfin, which, when I say to a lot of people, they think I'm making a joke or something like that, but it's actually the cross between a false killer whale and a bottlenose dolphin. And they are like, they actually have some in captivity in Hawaii. Like, it was a complete accident because they kept the false killer whale and the common bottlenose in the same tank. As they like, they get along, like they can coexist in the same environment because they don't hunt each other, they just eat fish. So and then one of the bottlenose accidentally bred with the false killer whale. Like, obviously the male would have to be the bottlenose, or because that wouldn't work the other way. And then they had a wolf in, and it's still alive. And it's fertile. It's had like 3 babies or something with another bottlenose dolphin. But they think it's like one of the ones where it can actually breed in the wild, like the grizzly bear, whereas like something like the liger wouldn't exist in the wild. I am sorry. I'm sorry if I'm boring anyone, because I can see the viewer going down. Right. It's good and bad in a way for the so like, what is your opinion about scientists trying to crossbreed and make new hybrid animals? It's a really, like, it's a controversial topic because there's advantages and there's disadvantages. Like, the advantages is you're helping. So they've done it before with bacteria, like insulin that we use is bred through bacteria. They splice the DNA with the insulin from a human, or no, not a human, a pig, and put it into a bacteria. And as bacteria reproduce like every 20 minutes or so, it gave them like a large supply of insulin for diabetics. So it does have its advantages to doing it, but for wild animals, it's not a particularly good thing. Sorry, because for like hybrids in the wild, they're able to outcompete the natural ones. Do cetaceans get? Sorry, I need to see ads. I don't know what that word is, so I'll just have a look now. Sick. I will probably say yes to the poisoning one, because not every animal can digest the toxins. So, but it's also why certain animals have warning patterns. So it's like, you eat me, you're gonna die, sort of thing. So it's why like bees, wasps, and things like that are all black and yellow, as in nature that's a natural warning sign. Because birds use that for when they're hunting insects. Another one, I can't remember what one's I think it's the milk snake, and the other's the coral snake. I think it's those ones, or it's like it's like red. One is white, black, and red. One is yellow, white, yellow, black, and red. And one is venomous. The yellow and black one is the venomous one, and the white and black one is not. But it's mimicked the venomous one, so that the birds won't eat them. Lucifer, notice me, senpai. You're welcome, mate. How can I not notice you? Noodle soda. It's an algae that's very common in tropical fish. Right. Yeah. So I had a look, and it is. So it's a foodborne illness caused by eating reef fish. So obviously, like it says, like these symptoms are like dizziness, vomiting, diarrhea, numbness, itchiness, and sensitivity to hot and cold. And generally, like it's weird because toxins can affect. Well, the easiest way is like I remember watching something on like rattlesnake venom, and it's like rattlesnake venom can affect one animal differently to another, and but also like individuals differently. Like I saw on the documentary that was on, 2 people were bitten by rattlesnakes at separate times. But one of them, it looked like one of them went into like cardiac arrest a few times, whereas the other one, like they didn't show any symptoms until like they just like clicked like that. Like they just fell to the ground and then started having a seizure. So it's one of those things. I can't remember the name of that documentary, but if you deal with a toxin enough times, you can create like I won't say immunity, but a resistance to it. But it's one of those things. Cool. Yeah, there you go. So I just found an entire like paper on the ciguatera poisoning on cetaceans, and it looked at like it looked at cetaceans that had beached up on it, because some of them have been beached and caused them like dizziness, and obviously they've beached, so they've taken and died. So they've taken autopsies to see how it happened. So it's just one of those, like sometimes it may affect them, sometimes it may not. So do all jellyfish sting and have toxins? Yes, they do. Because I had to do a paper on that. Well, I say a paper, I did a presentation on that, and basically every single tendril that they have is filled with like little spikes, like thousands and thousands of needles, like needle-like hair sort of things. Not necessarily hairs, but like that. And they're all full of neurotoxins, and it affects every, like majority of them do affect us. Like oh god, mate, if they shot out like if their stingers shot out like harpoons, we'd all be in danger. But Scott touched those jellyfish at the beach. He touched them at the canal. Like the tendrils actually touched him, and it didn't cause any harm. It's because some of the, it depends on how sharp the tendril, like the stingers are. Really, it has to be thick enough to, or strong enough and sharp enough to go through the animal skin that it's attaching to. So like it's got to be tough enough to get like through fish scales of eating those or whatever. So that's why not many. That's why you don't hear many cases of humans like fatally dying from them. But is it just to what degree of toxins certain jellyfishes have, whether they will be harmful or not? Yeah, so pretty much just like I said, it depends on the. It's a number of variables really. It's how sharp the stingers are, how thick they are, how strong they are, and how thick and strong the like skin surface they're trying to get through. And it also depends on like allergies, things like that. So that's why some fish like the Portuguese man of war, the box jellyfish, and a tiny one that's like the size, I can't remember the name of that one, but it's like the size of your fingernail. Like they have the most recorded human deaths, but then ones like the Chinese freshwater and the moon jelly have, if they have any recorded deaths, it's more due to an allergic reaction. It's the easiest way for an effect to know the effect of jellyfish, or like most common jellyfish on humans, is iodine, or general anesthetic. So iodine is found in jellyfish like the moon jellies and stuff like that, and obviously used to numb the areas where doctors use it to numb the areas where they're like performing surgery and that. I heard that there is a lake in Palau that has a bunch of jellyfish without stingers. Not sure how true. You see, so that one, I'm not sure how true that is either. From what I know, every single jellyfish has stingers. It's just the effectiveness. God, I feel awkward, man. But yeah, it's just the effectiveness of the stingers, not that they don't have any. If they don't have any, that's probably a mutation, and I wouldn't see that carrying on in the species because it's not advantageous. Let's have a look. There you guys are getting some fresh research right off the bat. Jellyfish without stingers. Jellyfish, yeah, I just found it. The Jellyfish Lake. All right, I don't know then, because it's saying right, this is really like annoying me now because right, I'll go to this site. Oh man, this is like, I haven't used this site now because basically use Google Scholar to find all my papers for for all the papers that I was like writing about on the subjects I had for assignments and stuff, and just using it for general use is kind of weird. I feel like I'm doing a report on something. What was it? What was it called again? All right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering any like words or anything, Eric. Like, all right. So what I can tell from this then is these jellyfish and Jellyfish Lake are they don't eat fish. They eat microorganisms like the Chinese jellyfish, but obviously because the Chinese jellyfish is so small, it needs them for defense, whereas the ones in Jellyfish Lake didn't seem to have any predators. So I imagine it's because of lack of predators, so there's no need of them. They're eating microorganisms, so no need of them. So it's just one of those things. Right, Cindy, I was stung on the calf of my leg while swimming in the ocean off the coast of California. Many years ago, my leg swelled up very badly, and the pain was so bad that I wanted to cut off my leg. Yeah, it can do that to you. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Sorry, my laptop's about to die. I'm back. Yeah. See, I only know about jellyfish things because my aunt had a bad reaction. She's allergic. She's actually allergic to jellyfish. So she had a really bad experience with them, and she ended up in hospital for a while. If memory serves me correctly, I was like 3 or 4 at the time, so recalling at that age is like near impossible. It's why she's always nervous going down to the beach in case any on that. So I hate swimming in the ocean as well because they're hard to see, especially with like murky water. But yeah, what that would be is our cells need like potassium and sodium to like function properly. What neurotoxins do is affect the how that works. So it may stop potassium getting into the cells, or may stop sodium getting into the cells. So it's one of those. What animal are you most particularly interested in? Right, sharks. Sharks have been like since I was a little kid. Just I saw Jaws pretty much. Saw the great whites. Most people in my family instantly scared of them from Jaws, but me is like, this is an amazing animal. I want to work with it. That's what's kind of set me on the path to want to be a marine biologist because of the character in that. That Matthew guy, I can't remember what his full character name was, but that's what inspired me to be a marine biologist. And because I just wanted to like swim and study sharks. I couldn't name a particular one because they're all fascinating to me, but so like stingrays and manta rays, stuff like that, they're pretty cool. But if I had to choose one to work with, it'd either be the great white, the manta ray, or the what's that other one? The epaulet shark, because they're really cool. They live on the ocean floor. They're able to stay still, but they use the fins like walking. Like they're able to walk across the bottom of the ocean, and like they can stay in rock pools, and like using their muscles, they can be in like low oxygen conditions. So it allows them to pump more oxygen into their body. But if I was to study, like they would probably be a top 3 to work with, or the top 3 that I'm interested in. But I can name loads of animals that I'm interested in. Really, things like a species of fish called arowana or arapaima. They're really cool. They're like they haven't evolved since they're like they're like dinosaurs in the fish world, same as like the coelacanth. They haven't evolved for millions of years. Things like crocodiles interest me, snakes, like saltwater crocodiles, Nile crocodiles, American alligators, anacondas, lizards are a favorite. Turtles are a big one as well. Oh, wow. There's just that many animals to choose from. It's hard to choose. Mostly sharks, though. I was really interested in sharks after watching Jaws. I wanted to understand them and find out if something like the movie could happen in real life. If I remember correctly, something like that. Yeah, memory serves right. Something like that did happen in New York, where a shark went around biting people. I can't remember what kind of shark it was. New York shark. Yeah, that's it. You. Yeah, so around 1915s, there was a load of attacks in New York. And like all unprovoked. It's like Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn. A lot, like quite a few non-fatal, but there were like 3 that were fatal. If I remember correctly, 1 was a little boy. But oh, it was a great white. Yeah, like I can't see if you see it properly. That's a what was it? Philadelphia Inquirer reported the capture of a man-eating shark off the Jersey shore after the attacks in 1916. There you go. 4 people were killed and 1 injured in 1916. Top 2 cited for it were bull shark and great white. Incidents occurred during a deadly summer heat wave and polio epidemic in the United States that drove thousands of people to seaside resorts of Jersey Shore. Remember correctly, one of them was like a sort of like saltwater river as well. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. So bull sharks can do it. Bull sharks can naturally go into fresh water. Them and sawfish are the only ones that have been recorded in fresh, like purely fresh water, like no salt available, and it's for breeding as it's protection against predators. Yeah, one off Jersey Shore did inspire several movies like Jaws. Jaws just happened to be the biggest one. Opinions on Mars. I heard that they found more parasitic tendencies than symbiotic when it comes to creatures they attach. Again, not sure how true. Right, Noodle Soda, you've really got me researching stuff on this. So, yeah, you all have. You've mostly just got me researching words that I don't even know. Remorse. All right, the suckerfish. Oh. All right, so in a way, I'm not. They're technically parasites, but it is also a symbiotic relationship as well, as it help. They feed off the scraps from the animals they attach to, majority of the time sharks, and then they feed on the parasites that attach to the sharks. So really, it's beneficial to the shark because they're staying healthy, and it's beneficial to the remoras because free food, free protection, sort of thing. It's like in that episode of Blue Planet where they had like the cleaning stations on the coral reef where like the fish, where like manta rays were coming in, they had parasites on them, like in their mouth and everything. Fish from the reefs were just going in, like going on them, around them, eating the parasites. Free food for them, better health for the manta ray. So it's one of those things. But again, with the Jersey Shore stuff, like there's one theory that says it's a great white because one where it happened in the river was because it's known for high salt contents because it's influenced from the tide, like the river here. So it's kind of like brackish. So sometimes there's high salt content, sometimes there's barely any. So that's why they theorize it can be a great white because it could survive then. It would have to go back out, or it wouldn't survive. Whereas bull shark obviously can just do it naturally. So it's one of those. Unless you were actually there or had an actual like photograph or first-hand account of someone who actually saw the shape and could identify the shark properly, we won't know. It's like the ones that happened in Egypt, like I think it was 2011 between 2011 and 2013, whatever it was, when all those people were getting bitten. Like they think it was one type of shark, they think it's another one. They think it was a shark that's been trained to hand feed because all the bites were around like the hand and the leg area. Others just think it's because those are weak points for our species. It's just one of those, like a lot of the attacks that happen in Sydney are done by juvenile great whites because obviously they're going from, like, they've just gone out, like, I say juvenile, they've just gone out of the juvenile stage and gone into the adult stage, so they've gone from eating fish to mammal, like seals and stuff, but they're going and like testing like what they can eat, so hence why surfers are mistaken and stuff like that. Kind of like when you're trying to get like a baby to eat like solid food. It's one of those. Speaking of cleaner fish, wasn't there a fish that pretends to be a cleaner ass? Maybe? Like, you guys are really getting me. Fish pretending to be a... Like, the false cleaner fish. There's species of cone-toothed blenny mimics copies the dance of cleaner wrasse. To avoid predators and to bite the fins of victims rather than consume parasites, because obviously like bigger animals, there's more nutrition in like the tiny bit of fin that you get than the parasites. Like most of the attacks it says here are on juvenile fish. So it's just one of those, like, mimicry is probably like one of the best defenses in the animal kingdom. Like I said, with those snakes, to avoid predation by just mimicking the color pattern just in a different way, because most like a lot of animals don't see color like us. Some of them see UV, some of them see other vision like radio waves and stuff. So what we can see, like, so like for a dog, really, like black and white vision. Obviously, they can see a few. They're basically just colorblind, so I think it's green they can't see, but they can still see contrast. So it's like you take a camera of something that's like green and compare it to a bark, like the bark. So leaves compared to the bark of a tree, contrast. That's how most animals see. It's how they train sharks to feed in aquariums. Like they're given a specific shape with specific like contrast patterns that they know. Oh, it's my time to be fed, and this is when I'm meant to be fed, and stuff like that. But the most interesting shark that I would love to see is a cookie cutter shark. After that would be a goblin shark. All-time one that would make me swoon, Megalodon, if they were still around. Right, I'm not getting into whether Megalodons are still around or not, because there's the believers and there's the non-believers sort of thing. Because the fan coelacanth was meant to be dead for like 60 odd million years, found it alive like 100 years ago by accident. So you never know. As I say, a lot of the ocean is unexplored. It's one of those. I would love to meet a megalodon, but also probably scared at the same time because it could swallow me whole. But mind you, so could a whale shark, and that didn't eat meat. But you know, until we can find one, can't be proven or disproven, which is why science is mostly theory than actual practical knowledge. But cookie cutter sharks are cool. I think they're the only one with like a circular jaw, and like they found them trying to like get their way through submarine holes and like thinking it's whales. So cool. And then goblin sharks, they are really cool because like they're prehensile jaw, so like they're able to like launch the jaw out and grab the food, and it's kind of like sucks them in at the same time. Helicoprion, as it had the word, that's cool. You see them sometimes where it's just like the one bit, and then you've got the ones where it's like swirl off to swirl off to swirl. It's like weird teeth. Obviously, it had a thing like a saw in motion, but it's the problem with sharks. We can't really tell. All we can tell is teeth from fossils. As their bones are mostly cartilage. I've actually seen a fossilized shark, like the full cartilage skeleton preserved. It was really, really cool. But it takes like a specific set of conditions. Like it has to be the right temperature, the right amount of pressure, and everything like that for it to actually preserve. So until we can see an actual fossil of that type of shark, we can only guess what it looks like. Hence why like we think the megalodon looks like a giant great white because of the teeth and the jaw. Helicoprion, we think it's because we guess what its jaw looked like just because of the amount of teeth it had and how long the hump went on for, or spiral, or whatever you want to call it. But wow, an hour and 15 minutes. Bloody hell. It's probably the longest I've been talking for a while. So let me know when you guys are bored of me. If this somehow gets to the 2-hour mark, I'll end it there. But keep your questions coming, guys. All right, if you want to talk about dinosaurs or anything like that, that's fine by me. Or if you want to go into a completely different subject. Not bored at all. This has been a good live stream. Thank you. Well, obviously this is my first one, so this is just a trial run, really. But thank you very much. It has been really cool just to sit here and chat with you guys, even though it's just me talking and you guys typing. I would love to program the. Oh, do you mean like trilobites? I think that's what you're on about. Pregrambian. because I did an entire topic on this. Fossils. Yeah, trilobites. Yeah, I've actually seen some of those. If you take a look at who was it? Scott, obviously Scott. You took a look on his channel, Nature's Temperate, and the Natural History Museum. There was lots of fossils in there. There was only a small section on trilobites and stuff, but they were cool to see. I've seen some in the museum here. That's when like the university took us, and like they had a couple replicas in a lecture, which were quite cool. The part of Britain where I was actually raised was it's famous for fossils because it's part of the Jurassic Coast, and it's where they found like the ichthyosaurs, they found mosasaurs. I think they found Liopleurodon. They find trilobites all the time. They found like the shell ones, ammonites. Yeah, they are really cool. Because it wasn't, because before Precambrian it was just like stuff that looks like snails and stuff like that, and then suddenly bursts into life. And then it's funny to think that we all started off as a single cell like bacteria or something like that, and evolved into something like what we are now. Like we've obviously had bigger things. Like the biggest mammal was the parasaur, which looked like a giraffe with like a really like floppy nose, but it was actually related to rhinos. It was the biggest mammal, terrestrial mammal ever recorded. The blue whale is the biggest mammal ever recorded anywhere. And then, there have been many full skeletal remains of mastodons found here in the desert where I live. There's always ongoing dig sites out there. Yeah, it's the same for the coast that I'm from. There's always someone looking. We actually have tours. There's that many fossils, so people can just go around, pick a fossil up if they find one. Because I think the first ichthyosaur one that was found there, the guy made he sold it to the museum. He made loads. I know there's a place in America where like you can easily find like megalodon teeth and stuff like that. That's why there's like fossilized shark teeth, mosasaur teeth, and that is so common that there's sold. Like I can go to a local aquarium or zoo or something, and they have them. And it's like £1 to get a pot of them. I actually have some here somewhere, if I remember where I put them. Just where I put them up. I can't actually remember where I put them. That's great. I think I left them at my girlfriend's. Give me a second, Soda. I'll read yours in just a second. We find shark teeth here in the desert sometimes. There is a mountain in California called Shark Tooth Mountain. I think that's where I'm thinking of. You can find them everywhere. Because at most points, most of the Earth was covered in ocean. Like 10,000 years ago, Britain was connected to mainland Europe, and then because of a glacier, it became an island. Noodle Soda, speaking on interesting subjects, ever heard of giant pyrosomes? Their appearance is kind of similar to the long plastic. Yes, I've seen those. Those are really cool. I think they're mostly found in the Pacific. Don't quote me on that, but they're really cool because it's like looking. You have these things called like nematodes, which are like microscopic worm-looking things. I actually had to like do a report on them from like a practical lab where we were testing their like foraging capabilities and stuff, but the pyrosomes are like giant versions of them, and they're really cool. I try to keep up to date on what is being found in Antarctica. They're always finding something new when they dig down into the ice, and to think no one thought anything could live on. Yeah. Remember correctly, it wasn't that long ago that they found a giant underground lake that's like 40 kilometers wide or something, or like volume or something, and it's all fresh water. And if I remember correctly, the last I heard, they're trying to dig down and put a camera in, or like a micro sub or something, to see if there's anything living in there, because they found organisms living inside the ice. They've found organisms living like around volcanoes and stuff like that, or like in Yellowstone, in like the geysers, which are like boiling temperature pretty much, and they're finding organisms living in that. So it wouldn't be a surprise if anything actually lives in that lake. What's Antarctic? Look. Yes, Cindy, yes, and the magnetic fields around the lake, or I should say on the lake, keep moving around. Yeah, that is that's quite cool. I didn't know that one, so you've taught me something. Lake Vostok, there you go. Yeah, that's kind of, no, I don't think that. No, ignore that one. That was in Russia. No, it is Lake Vostok. Sorry, it was named by a Russian scientist. Life. From what I can tell, yeah, they've not found any life there yet. But Antarctica is one of those cool places because it's unlike the Arctic where it's just all ice. Antarctica is actually a continent, like a proper continent, because it is land, and then like million, like layer upon layer upon layer of snow is laid on over like millions, like thousands to millions of years, and it's actually caused the crust of the like land to start to indent into the earth. So it's kind of like taking a head and putting it on the pillow, and the pillow just goes around the head. It's sort of like that action. So yeah, that's quite cool. That's why you can pull out like a column of snow or ice or whatever from Antarctica, because it's that compact, it would last a while. And that's how they found stuff like there was stuff actually living in there, but they can tell like layer by layer how old the snow is, because it doesn't melt, or it rarely melts. Yeah, core sample, that's it. Thank you, Kate. You're the one from Africa, aren't you? Yes. Hi, welcome. Oh man. But yeah. When I read your comments about the drafts and that, I was so jealous. Oh man. Yeah, what else can we talk about? Cheers. Obviously, this has been going on for about an hour and 24 minutes. We've talked about jellyfish, sharks, dolphins, all sorts. If you go back in the chat, it kind of tells you what we've been talking about, and then I'm just giving my opinions. So yeah, so you've been the one that's all right, fair enough. So you've been lurking. Oh yeah, an opportunity to go on science ships. All right, I have been out on a research boat, but not with sharks. I had a 4-day trip to Scotland, and we had, well, my residential marine biology trip video. That's pretty much the only research boat I've been on. Where we trawled up some species and did a little project on them. Like, so I chose to do every single animal between 2 different sites. One was a gravel site, one was a mud site, and then Scott did one on like decapods, so like crab or crustaceans, really. Basking. No, I haven't personally seen a basking shark. My mum has. I'm jealous of her, but I know the place to go. When I'm home to see basking sharks, just I never go at the right time. I always miss them by a day or so. So there was a thing a couple of years ago here in Liverpool that basking shark got into the docks, and they had to like wait to get it back out because they had to wait for the river to get high enough again, because they had to close it off because it was like they had to open it up because it was flooding because of rain. Sharks swam in because it's all salt water, and then they had to wait for the river to go back up so they could let it back out. But it managed to survive because it's all the animals in there are like microorganisms, and that's what they eat. So I am actually really curious. What is your guys' favorite type of video that I've done? Is it the Abyss series, the amateur edutainments, or just like the general animal facts that I haven't done in a while, actually? The vlogs is just the thing where I keep you guys updated with what's going on. So you're going to get those whether you like it or not. Not in a mean way, by the way. But yeah, tell me what your favorite videos are. The edutainment, right? Okay, yeah. Well, lucky for you, I'm doing at least 2 over July. There should be at least 2. Right, edutainments again. So right, okay. I guess they obviously do better because of I am new to your channel, so I've only watched a few, but I did like the last couple that you did on edutainment. So I'm guessing that's the rock pools in the St. Helens Canal one. Yeah, so basically, like, I was looking at how that actually started was me and Scott were looking for a way to collab that would be interesting, because I thought I'd stick to narrations because it's probably the easiest thing for me to do. But then he came up with the idea, just, all right, come to my house, we'll go along the canal, see what we can see, and we'll video it. It's like we'll make it so it's gonna be, it's educational. We try to make it entertaining, and obviously we're both amateurs, so hence the name Amateurs Edutainment. But we actually had great fun doing it. It's just, and then like 2 weeks later, a week later, we decided to do the beach one. And obviously I put it up straight away because I was excited to get it up, whereas Scott's taking like nearly a month to do it. Because he literally put it up the day after we actually went to the canals in St. Helens. And because we went to that one based on the rumors of the tropical fish. So we thought, oh, that's going to be really interesting. Didn't find any, but we found the jellyfish, which led to that whole thing. But and we ended up going to his old college, which I've actually thought about doing one on my old college when I can. Like, if they, because I have to sort with them, I have to arrange the visit. But next month I'm gonna have one on the beach near where I grew up, or pretty much the beach that I grew up with. And then going to be one in the forest, so completely different. Barely any water involved, because obviously they've all been like aquatic so far. Now, I started out watching Scott's channel, and it led me here. I really enjoy watching you guys go out and do it. And you think, yeah, we really enjoy it. That's why we want to do it. Unfortunately, Scott's not going to be in the next couple because while I'm filming him, he's out in Japan. But I'm going to be doing it with my brothers and sisters. Well, my little brothers and sisters and my little cousins. Because one of them wants to work with animals when she grows up, and then the other it's some fun. It's the best way that I know for us all to bond. So you'll probably see a couple of my siblings and cousins in that, and because they enjoy rock pooling, they enjoy going to the forests. Because I know in the rock pool one, I know we're definitely going to see crabs, maybe a couple gobies. I don't know what else we're going to see. In the forest one, I can guarantee horses. I guarantee them. It's the only population of wild horses or wild ponies, I can't remember which type it is, in the UK. So that's obviously going to be really interesting for you guys. And hopefully I might see some deer. I'm hoping for deer. I've never seen a deer there before. I see the occasional fox and that. I'm going to try and do one on an island in the local harbour, because it's the only place in the south of England where we can see red squirrels, as they become endangered because of grey squirrels. And we have wild peacocks there as well. So, all right. Sorry, I was just seeing the chat go up. When you enjoy what you do, it is felt by the. Yep. I have to say, like, I struggle with the narrations because I try and make them sound. I try and be as enthusiastic as possible, but it's just when the recording equipment doesn't work. When like with my last Abyss episode, the bloody echoes were really annoying me. But it was the only time that I had to do it, and that I try and set myself a deadline to do it by, so that it's out. So like, I want it and I record stuff like 5 to 30 times. That's how much effort I want to put into. That's how much effort I put into these things, and I go through each recording, choose the best one, and then sometimes it agrees with my editing software. Sometimes it doesn't, and it just gets really annoying. And then obviously trying to choose the best footage to use, or the best photos, because obviously I don't want what happened to Scott to happen to me with the copyright strikes. So, and I don't want it to happen to anyone, but obviously you get some people, and it's just not fair, really, especially for when it's people like Scott, where it's their livelihood. For me, at the moment, this is just a hobby. If it becomes more, I'm happy to do it. But it's one of those things. That's why amateur entertainment feels so good, because it's one take. It doesn't matter how we do it. We stated it's amateur, so it's kind of like disclaimer right there. We're doing it, and we're just doing it off the top of our heads. If it's good, it's good. If it's crap, it's crap. But then we enjoy it. So, sometimes we do leave a couple clips out because we don't. Well, I do it personally anyway, because I don't think they're appropriate. Like the first one, Scott recorded the dead mouse, as he said. But I didn't want that in my video, so I didn't put it in. But then after seeing the comments to that, I included Gus and the ones that we had in the last one. But I just realised it's part of nature. You're going to see it anyway, so I may as well add it in. But I really enjoy those videos because I'm actually out seeing these animals in the wild. I'm not having to go. Yeah. So that's your one as Kate. Maybe you don't see the long-term benefits, but specific locks of your biofinds will be beneficial to the future studies of a given area, rather like farmers who keep meteorological records for decades. Yeah, that's we kind of like figured that out when we saw the jellyfish, because it shows where we caught them, it shows how we caught them, and how we just found them because we just stumbled upon them. Like there was a guy while we were there was actually saying like he's been fishing there 6 months, he's never seen them, and from what we could tell, no one's ever seen them there before. So we don't. When we did some research, there were some seen in the UK like 20 years ago, but they were mostly kept in labs or pet fish trade, and then obviously gone off. But then this may be the actual first time that we've been found in the wild. And then, because the only other European country they've been found in is Russia. So it could be a big find, and it could have a negative effect. It could have a positive effect, or it could just be completely neutral. We don't know. But if anything does happen, us two should be kept in the loop, because we technically found them. We technically discovered them. So to anyone who uses the footage of that or any information, we technically own the rights to it because it's on our channels. So, Cindy, we have wild horses all over in the Western US in so many counties that they are considered pests. Yeah, that is what we had the same thing with foxes and badgers here, and it really annoys me. We had a couple of years ago with a badger cull because of bovine tuberculosis, and it was really annoying. They would just go around killing, like, obviously using trained marksmen so that it doesn't affect them too much, but it was it really annoyed a lot of animal people when they could just simply vaccinate it, because the thing is, you kill one badger and then remove it from its den, and another badger will come take its place, and it would be kind of a completely different strain of bovine tuberculosis, if it has any. And then obviously go in contact with cattle and stuff. So it's one of those things. And then with foxes, it really annoys me because of fox hunting. We managed to get it banned years ago, and now it really annoys me because the government we have at the moment want to bring it back. Well, they did a thing about it. Enough people campaigned that didn't, but they're on it. Apparently, there's a rumor that they want to bring it back in because they have the money and it's tradition. I don't see what's tradition and fun about sending bloodhounds in to tear up an innocent fox. It's really annoying, especially as it's like one of the only natural canids we have left. Linda, I agree with Kate. This will only benefit you. Thank you. I'm not going to lie, since doing these and doing this stuff with you guys, it's actually made me feel more appreciated with what I do. As I said, I work in a bar. I deal with people that treat me like shit all the time. You get the people that are ignorant, people that think they're better than you. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to survive. I'm doing this for my livelihood. What am I meant to do? You expect it a certain way, but then it's meant to be this way, but you want it this way. Like, there's only so much I can do. But then when it comes to this, I can do what benefits me and it benefits you guys. So if you're happy, I'm happy. And if I'm happy, I hope you guys are happy. I probably sound really weird to my neighbors right now because I'm talking and they can't hear who I'm talking to. Christ, is that? Oh, it's can't believe it's 11:30 here. Bloody hell! Last time I looked at my clock, it was It's only 9 o'clock. 1 minute, 1 hour 40. Bloody hell! All right. So anything. This feels like I'm giving a lecture. Do what you love and don't stress over what you can't change. You can't. Yeah. All right. Okay. Can't unfuck the world. Yeah. I've learned to deal with it that way. It's just obviously when I started my job like 2 years ago, well, nearly 2 years ago, it's like, oh, it's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to be nice to me. They're going to make tips all the time, stuff like that. I'm lucky if I get a tip. The ones who generally tip me, a couple. Once I did have a fiver, and when it was my birthday, someone did buy me a pint. So there will always be people who want to tear you down because they don't like themselves and want to pull you down with them. We appreciate what you are doing. Thank you. Right. There needs to be more. Generally, I feel there needs to be more positivity in the world. There's so much conflict about everything. Like, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but you got people who think immigrants are a bad thing. You got people who think like younger generations like disrespect other things. Like, I feel like my generation are respectful. Like, obviously, like there are those that aren't respectful, but I feel like I am. I was raised to respect people, and I do. Like, I feel like it's more like the other generations that disrespect me. Cindy, it's 3:30 here in Nevada. I'm afraid I must go and tend to some farm duties now. It's been a pleasure, and I have really enjoyed the topics. Please continue your videos. Thank you, and I will do. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing on the farm. I would be interested in what animals you keep, by the way, because some of those are really cool. Like, first, when we went to Scott's college, that's the first time I've ever seen raccoon dogs. At my college, it was the first time I ever saw goats. Well, first time I ever got to work with goats, first time I ever got to work with sheep, chillers, pigs, stuff like that. Obviously, I've seen them before, but never actually worked with them. But thank you. And yeah, this live chat was pretty much just spontaneous, just off that one question about the porpoise, and it's gone into this. So definitely try and do more of these in the future. Obviously I figured out how to do it now because I was trying to figure out how to do this. But yeah. I think Scott's actually organising another live stream at some point for charity. But and I'm actually going to join him on that one. I think we're doing like a spooky woods or something. Don't quote me on that. I don't know what we're doing, but I know I'm doing it with him if I'm available. It depends on work commitments and stuff, because obviously this is livelihood. I work separate to this, so I've got to balance time between the two. And social life. Not that I have much of one, but it's still one. I have horses, goats, chickens, ducks, fish ponds, and dogs. It's just a small farm, but it keeps me really big. That I am jealous of. Horses, goat. I'm not gonna lie. I do have a fear of birds, mostly because owls. I didn't like. Owls freaked me out when I was holding one, and it like flew up and got me on the side of my head. Same for my little brother, but I'm gradually getting over it. Chickens I don't mind. Ducks I don't mind, but like other birds, it's like, so I'm gonna see how I do with my mum's budgies. That's gonna be fun. Fish ponds I am jealous of. I've always wanted a fish pond. Closest to that is keeping a fish tank. And dogs. Oh, I love dogs. I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't have a dog. even now, like me and my girlfriend have a dog, I only see her on weekends, but she's an amazing little thing. Like, well, I raised her from when or just after she was born, so. I hate his dick, and like it's now actually go on my Facebook page and Instagram on the same name. I've got videos all around there, so that I think she's like the one thing that's like helped me keep sane throughout university and work, because it's like balancing the stress of those two different things is really annoying. Have a great evening, and everyone here have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see another live chat soon. Goodbye for now. Yeah, bye Cindy, thank you. I hope you have fun doing the farm and enjoy the rest of your day. And I don't know when I'll do another one of these, maybe in a month or so when I get back. It just depends on when I'm free and if my girlfriend's not back because she doesn't want to be in any videos. I raised a baby crew when I was a teenager. They See, animals are probably like. I'm like it with babies as well. Like I'm one of those. I don't know, admit. I'm one of those guys where I laugh when people hurt, like when they get hurt, like physically hurt, not like when you trip over or something like that. But I'm also sincere at the same time because I want to make sure they're all right as well. Like, I start to like when your brother does something stupid and he ends up getting hurt, I laugh at that. But when someone like falls or like ends up in a car crash, I am worried for them. When I see a baby, and I obviously like baby animals or just animals in general, is like it's the same. All right. So, I may as well hit the 2-hour mark. So, 13 minutes left. Anyone else want to talk about anything? Or whoever's left want to talk about anything? Any particular topic anyone want to talk about for like 10 minutes? Per like a cat? I assume so. I think I've heard them. Yeah, they do. I've heard of all recordings like that before. So it's when you hear like a zebra or a zebra, depending on where you're from, however which way you want to say it. When you actually hear them, it does kind of sound like a hyena laugh. So. And I would like to at some point be able to do a live stream with my dog, so, or like do a live stream about like whatever animals are around. How do I feel about bats? I love them. No, obviously you got your ones that look really ugly, but at the end of the day, that's how they're adapted to hunt for insects and things like that. And then you got your ones that are cute, that look really cute because they eat fruit, so they don't really need to hunt. But yeah, that could you see like them when they're being rescued and that, and they're there with like a dummy and like in a baby blanket and that, and it's kind of cute. But I absolutely love going into bat houses at zoos. I like just experiencing like them fly around me and stuff like that, like they would in nature, because they don't really care. As long as like, because it's one of those things like as long as you don't bother them, they don't bother you. So yeah, bats are cool, especially as like they're the only mammal that can fly. Like, you know, like their entire wing is just their hand, like just all their fingers. But obviously, it's always a thumbs up, and then it's why they're actually better at flight. They're more they're more acrobatic in the fights because it's their fingers instead of like the entire arm. So they're more flexible and they can do more sharp turns than a bird. So they're really interesting. And the fact that they can use echolocation like marine mammals is the only other thing that I know of that uses it. So, but they use their ears instead of like the melon on their head. So, a whole slew of baby bats went out for the first time, and my mum got one stuck in her hair. That's funny. I was getting it out when one got tangled in mine. She took off and left me to get it out of my hair. Yeah, it sounds like my nan was spiders or bugs. My nan hates bugs, so you get left with them. And it's the same with my mum with snakes. My mum absolutely hates snakes. Like, well, she's scared of them. She's also scared of geckos. Well, geckos are nice. They're really cool. Like, I was in Tenerife and one was outside my hotel room, just out on the wall. I was like, oh, that's nice. Just sat there and watched it. I did an entire day out, like you see in Scott's, like Liverpool, like Liverpool John Moore's residential trip to Tenerife. Oh god, that's a mouthful. And we went around surveying geckos, like the size, the body temperature, the rock temperature, and stuff like that. Rock size to see like if it affects how they hide in sunlight and stuff. I think one group actually found a gecko with 2 tails. It was quite weird. What types of videos would you guys like to see more? Like, obviously, I'm going to continue with amateurs entertainment. That every time that I can afford to, I will do one. It's just the cost of getting there and organizing it with Scott, with like his schedule and my schedule to meet up. Or like if he's not available to do one, I'll do one anyway, so that I just have a few that are just my channel. Obviously, probably won't be as good because there's no banter back and forth between us, but because some of them would probably just be me on my own, literally on my own, just trying to film and do the stuff at the same time. But, because I do have some things in mind to do. It's just the ones that I mostly consider narrations, just because it's easy just to like research it, record myself, or obviously record the audio for it and then make the video. Or would you like to see more like face-to-face sort of thing, just stuff like that? And obviously when I can include animals in the video, I'll include them or whatever. Because I don't want it to be like, oh, edit this, oh, edit that. Like, if you click in this corner, it's this. If you click in this corner, it's this. I'd rather it be more natural. Thank you. Yeah. Hopefully, I will find my niche. It's that whole thing of the horror story that I read out for Lazarus Effect is just because she asked me to. Aquatic Adventures. Nice. Because I'm hoping like as soon as I can get out of my university flat and back into where I can actually have animals, like I'm setting up a fish tank. Setting up a fish tank. Don't know what with yet, but I could do like a vlog thing where I just like I want to keep my stuff animal related, if you know what I mean. Like as long as there's animals in it or like animals involved in some way, I will do it. And like if I can do a live chat with like I would love to like do a live chat or an interview with people that actually work with animals. Like, I've got a couple friends that are finishing work experience for, like, in a video of Knowledge is Fire, they're doing a work experience there. And it'd be cool to see their views on how zoos work, how, like, what it's like to actually work with the animals and stuff. And obviously, like, most of my stuff's probably going to be aquatic, just because there's more, like, diversity there, and it's where most of my knowledge is. But I will do terrestrial as well. Like, I'd love to one day to, like, fly out to Africa and just record wildlife and narrate over it or something like that, or go on a boat, record stuff, go to the States, to the desert or something. It's just, and hopefully one day this channel helps me get to that point. But until then, it's just whatever I can fit in and when I can do it. Because unlike most channels where they have, like, Brave Wilderness, where he has like a team of guys with him all the time to help him do stuff, it's literally just me. It's just me and the occasional time it's Scott as well. But when it's just me, it's just like I've got to try and record, make sure I get the at least the viewable angle of me trying to do stuff as well. Like that one where I did the museum, the reason I had that was all just like music in the background was because my audio files on my computer on the video is corrupted because I didn't save the files right. And then the one of the zoo, the only reason that I noticed the safari park when we're in the minivan and stuff was because all the background noise was hard to, like, hear what the person was saying. That's why I did we did like this school thing separate as a video, so that you could actually get some information. Yeah. Because I would have to go to zoos and just record animals they have there and stuff like that. I know most people don't like that, and then I don't want to get bombarded with like, oh, what, you support this, you support that. It's like, this is what I think is great, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, sort of thing. I have my opinions, you have yours. Like, at the end of the day, everyone likes what they like, everyone dislikes what they dislike. So any last few questions before we end? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. If we all thought the same, it would be a really boring world. Opinions on sea scorpions, absolutely bloody amazing. All right. Yeah, they're like one of the biggest crustaceans, and then like obviously led on to like scorpions and other crustaceans that we have today. So yeah, they're really cool. You're very welcome, mate. You're very welcome, Noodle. The rest of you that are tuned in, like obviously some of you tuned in and out, others have like just like stayed for one portion and probably going to come back and watch the entire thing later. That's what I tend to do with live streams. If I miss them, I watch the entire thing later on, like I did with Scott's 4 hours. So that was just 4 hours of me doing stuff or just listening to that and watching that. So yeah, I might do another narration this week of The Abyss, if I can decide what animal to do. If not, I'll just be like an animal facts, and I'll try and make sure the audio is perfect on that one. Sorry for the weird laughs. But yeah, thank you guys, and yeah, thank you. Have a nice day. evening, morning, wherever you are. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.